Hi everyone, my name is Vieko, on Instagram known as Coppacini, and this is the third part of the designing the cutting guides for fibula free flap surgery for mandibular reconstruction. After the two first parts where I have shown the process of segmentation of the mandible and fibula, I have imported those two models in Blender previously and cleaned it from the some errors such as gaps and small islands of the vertices. So previously I have met with the surgeons and they decided to have two segment graft harvested from the fibula shown on this video. This is the plan. So idea is to place one cutting plane here between the first and the second tooth on the right side, and the second cutting plane oblique through the mandible ramus. So the next step is the design process for the cutting guides. So you go to the FFF Gen and press initialize add-on as shown in the first tutorial for the Blender add-on. Okay, so import the models. So we will take fibula and we will take mandible and import it. Okay, so when the models are imported, we will have to orient them in the space, rotate around x-axis like that, and okay. So before I start, let me tell you that this time we will use the right fibula as we used to, but since the tumor itself is so big and the cutting planes will go somewhere here, the proximal part and the distal part will go between the first and the second tooth on the right. I can't use this orientation of the mandible of the fibula because if I orientate fibula like this, the fibula, the peroneal artery stalk will be somewhere very high, and it would be hard for the surgeons to connect with to make anastomosis with the facial artery and vein. And I will make a separate video how to orientate the fibula when you want to make grafts. For this purpose, I will orientate the fibula for 180 degrees. So rotate around x-axis like that, because the stalk of the peroneal artery and will be oriented to the frontal part of the mandible and the mental process, and it will be easier to make the anastomosis with facial artery and vein. So okay, now we have to scale it. So scale it 0.1, same for the fibula, 0.1. Okay, like that. Okay, okay, grab Z. Okay, rotate X. Okay, let's see from the front. Okay, I'm satisfied as with the position. Now we have to apply all transforms, same to the mandible. Okay, like that. Then click on FFF Gen, choose mandible for mandible, fibula for fibula. There will be two segments. Press Auto Decimate and initialize objects. Okay, auto update on, so we can see in real time the segments. We will make 1.3. Okay, like that. So the CTN geography of the lower legs as well as the mandible was performed in another hospital, and I'm not satisfied how CTN geo turned out, because the perforating branches of the peroneal artery were not visible. So we decided to go by heart and not to take grafts in the most distal 6 centimeters. So I will leave this ruler on just as reminder where is my distal point. Okay, so choose and take the pivot points. Okay, like that. Grab it like that. Okay, rotate it. Let's see, first, second. Rotate around Z. Okay, the cutting plane should go something like here. Yes, I think that this is it. Okay, the lateral incisor, or the number 42 tooth, will be pulled out, and the cutting plane must go between the central incisor and the canine. Okay, so we'll have to choose the segments. We have to move the segments in their local axis. just took a look on the plan, so the plan was a little bit different. The proximal segment should be shorter and the distal segment should be longer, so I will change that accordingly. You see the change is could be done pretty easy just by one click. Okay, again, we don't want to be too close. Yes, this is good. Now we have to correct the proximal and the distal osteotomy. Okay, this distance should be okay. I don't like that part over here, but there is no big difference because, well, maybe let's try like that. Okay, let's see the distance. 4, almost 5, and let's see that distance. 2.5. Okay, that is according to plan. We're a little bit too close, so we'll have to move it a little bit more. Okay, this doesn't change too much. We are around 6 millimeters, which is okay. Okay, this is good. So the next step is to choose, okay, go to FFF Gen. We have our thickness of the cutting planes and generate cutting planes. Now go to Fibula guides. This is in contrary that we used to have, because in the beginning we rotate the fibula in short axis for 180 degrees. And I'm not sure if you can imagine, but normally this is the side of the foot and this is the proximal fibula, and here is the ventral side and here is dorsal side. So the surgeons will insert the saw from this side, and we have to make openings from that side. On the bottom. In the last tutorial I accidentally skipped that part, but I corrected myself when I was making the mandibular guides. So you can move your cutting planes for maybe around 1 millimeter just to close the gaps that are created when all the thickness, the saw thickness is summed up. So I will make the move, grab epsilon epsilon, okay, here, and same for the grab epsilon epsilon, grab epsilon. Let's do that, maybe 1 millimeter. Okay, and now you go to create cutting guides. Okay. Yeah, and okay, I have to rotate it along the z-axis like that. Yeah, I forgot to do that. So rotate like that, grab it x, yes, because it is the opposite side. Okay, so I'm satisfied how this looks. Let's create Fibula screw guide. Grab over here. And one over here. We can scale along z-axis a little bit. Grab. Okay, this is okay. So I will delete this part later on when I'm again concerned about this protruding part. I'm not sure if it's too thin, but I think it will hold when getting printed. So this looks okay. There is no overhangs, and this is okay. So okay, now we have to choose the mandible, go to file, export STL, you name as desired. You press selection only and don't forget to scale 10 times up because earlier we scaled it 10 times down, and export STL. Okay, now go to Mandible Guides, again FFF Gen, create guides. So, okay, like that. Grab it like that. Scale it on Z. Grab it Z. Okay. Let's see the orientation. So you have to be careful because when you choose grab Z, it will go along the Z axis. So you see how it changes its position. You have to choose the local axis. So grab Z, Z, you see, and now it moves along its local Z axis. There is too little space for the screw because the tumor tissue is somewhere here. So I'm afraid that I will have to put it somewhere here, but not sure. We will have to see. Okay, rotate. Let's rotate like that. Yes, and grab and move it a little bit. Now grab that. Okay, scale. Okay, we almost scale. Okay, this looks okay, and now this one. Scale. Again, the cutting plane needs to be moved and scaled along its local axis. So ZZ, grab ZZ like that. Perfect. So this segment is very thin, so you have to be careful not to have overhanging parts, as it could easily happen during the design. So I'll choose the whole guide. Let's rotate it a little bit, rotate it like that. Let's see if it's okay. Okay, let's move it like that. No, this doesn't look good. Okay, rotate or something like that. Let's go like that. Grab. Okay, this looks better. We'll see. Let's grab like that. Again, let's scale it like that. So I pressed Control B for bevel, moved it like that, and middle mouse just scroll it how you prefer curved to be, like that. Let's Control B. Let's try to make bevel like that. Okay, let's exit and this looks fine. Let's okay. Later we will maybe repair and add something over here to make it a little bit thicker. Okay, let's grab XX, sorry, grab Epsilon YY. Okay, so let's move it a little bit inside, grab XX, just to have, and grab ZXX, like that. This should be okay. Let's see how thick is it, 1 centimeter. Okay, let's make it scale XX a little bit thinner, like that, because there are a lot of structures in this region, so we have to make the guide very thin, yet again not too thin. Okay, this should be okay. Let's move this, grab a little bit more here to have more space for the screw holes. Okay, so this should look fine. Let's make it a little bit thinner. Oh, sorry. I have to scale XX. Everything. Let's make everything a little bit thinner. Okay. Let's see how thin is it. Maybe this part a little bit too thin. Okay, this should be enough. So create start screw. grab it and let's put it over here. And again, one more. And put end screw here. It's a little bit too thin. Let's move this a little bit here and then move the guide. Okay, and let's put one more over here just in case the surgeons don't need to use screws, they can use some kind of clamps also, so I see that also. So let's do bevel here, so Control B. Tab, okay, this looks nice just to have clean edges. Same for this edge. Tab, okay, this is more. Okay, let's do the same for this. Okay, Control B. And we can make the effort this edge. Okay, so this should be okay. Let's scale. We will leave this as it is. Okay. Okay, I don't want to have small connected segments that go between the teeth because well, it will be hard to insert them there, insert the guides between the teeth. So I think this should be it. Obviously, for this case, because of the protruding and expanding tumor, I'm not able to connect these two segments, so I have to save them separately. Okay, thank you for watching, and please subscribe to the channel, like the video if you liked it, and stay tuned for more. Bye bye guys, and have a good day.